Namaskar. My name is Anjan Bora. I am Senior Lecturer, District Institute of Education and Training, Nagaon District. I welcome all of you to my session. Today my session is Methods of Teaching Mathematics. So there is a question in everybody's mind, what is mathematics? Some people interprets mathematics as a science which involves calculations, measurements, etc. For other people, maybe it's a subject which involves logical reasoning, and many other people interprets mathematics in their own way. So there is no concrete or shortcut definition by which we can define mathematics. Whatever may be the case, we can say one thing, that mathematics is a subject which has got immense practical, disciplinary and cultural value. Now, when we talk about practical value, it assumes immense utility or practice in our life, because everybody, maybe she is a housewife, or maybe she is an engineer, or he is a doctor, everybody uses mathematics in some form or other. So that subject assumes immense practical value. So talking about disciplinary value, we must say that mathematics, when we learn mathematics, it inculcates in the learner's mind a sense of discipline. That's why mathematics is a subject which assumes disciplinary value. Next comes cultural value. Many people cannot think of cultural value of mathematics, but yes, mathematics has got a great cultural value. When we talk about our great civilization, what we are enjoying today, the scientific advancements, technological breakthrough, etc., there science has played a pivotal role, and mathematics is called mother of science. So ultimately we can say mathematics has contributed significantly in the advancement of human civilization or today's culture. That's why you can say mathematics has got immense cultural value. So in spite of all these great values, particularly practical value, this subject mathematics is considered by someone as uninteresting subject. But it is not true. Mathematics is not uninteresting. We can create the adequate interest in everybody's mind. And here lies the significance of applying appropriate method according to age or according to situation. This is quite understandable. There are many methods which are considered suitable for transaction of mathematics at school level, and there I have written inductive deductive method, heuristic method, analytic synthetic method, project method, activity based method, laboratory method, etc. And here today we will discuss a few of them. But before going to method, we must understand one thing. There is no method which is suitable in every situation or for every student. Every method has got its advantages, limitations, etc. So it's up to the teacher or the educator where he will apply what method and how he will apply the method. It's up to him, and he must be wise enough to choose proper method in proper situation. Now we talk about inductive deductive method. This inductive deductive method is one of the most popular method used in mathematics. It is said that life begins in induction and ends in deduction. But inductive and deductive method, these two methods are interestingly opposite to each other, but they are like the same. They are like the two sides of the same coin. they remain together in the opposite sides, and they create value remaining together in the opposite sides. But one method is not sufficient without the other. So that is great. Inductive method. What is inductive method? In inductive method, we proceed from particular to general. Here we proceed from example to theory. So before citing this numerical example, I would like to cite some other example which is prevalent among us. For instance, think about a child. When he grows up, maybe at the age of 3, 4, 5, he realizes that someone in his neighborhood has died. So maybe you will question, so what is this? You will understand when a person dies, there remains nothing for him, he is dead. Maybe some months later he will find another example that another person have died, and ultimately he will realize immense examples that people are dying due to old age or due to other factors, and he will ultimately conclude that every man will die. That means man is mortal, and there he forms a theory in his mind that man is mortal, and he has concluded that theory with the help of many examples. So man is mortal is the general theory. What we have said earlier, here we proceed from example to general theory. So man is mortal is the general theory. And in mathematics specific situation, if we need to understand what is inductive method, we can take this example. For example, you see 3 plus minus 3 is what? It is 0. Or minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 0. And so on, we can proceed. So what we have seen, when a number is added to its multiplicative inverse, or when a multiplicative inverse is added to the original number, it becomes 0. Here minus 5, its multiplicative inverse is 5, when added gives us 0, and it is always the same case. If 100 is added to minus 100, we will get 0. So we can conclude that when a real number is added to its additive inverse, we get the result as 0. Hence we conclude that x plus minus x is equal to 0. So this is the theory we have concluded. So here we can see this 3 plus minus 3 is equal to 0. It is an example. Minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 0. It is also an example. So there are numerous examples where we can show that when a number is added to additive inverse, we get the result as 0. So with the help of these numerous examples, we conclude that when a real number is added to its additive inverse, we get the result as 0. We can write it as x plus minus x is 0. When we talk about inductive method, it is one of the best method in mathematics. Although it has got some merits and demerits, we would like to discuss its merits and demerits. And we discuss about the merits or advantages. Here the learning becomes concrete as we proceed from particular example to general theory. We learn by having many examples, and so learning becomes concrete. And secondly, this method is based on sound reasoning. Obviously it is based on sound reasoning because many examples consolidates the knowledge in our mind, and ultimately we conclude a general theory. So this method is, we can say that this method is based on sound reasoning. Next we talk about the disadvantages. Inductive reasoning is not always considered conclusive. We can cite an example, maybe not of mathematics. For instance, say there is a place called X. We may face one people who belongs to the place X. Maybe we have found him not a good person. In the second instance, we may meet another man from the place X. Maybe he is not always also good. Then what we will conclude? Maybe we will conclude every man from the place X is not good. But in the third or fourth instant, there is possibility that we get a man from the place X which is not wicked or evil, he is a good person. So it's a tendency in everybody's mind to generalize things what we get in examples. We generalize very easily. So we can say that inductive reasoning is not always considered conclusive. It may not come to a well accepted conclusion always. That is disadvantage number one. And another disadvantage is that this method is time consuming. As we rely on examples, we consume many time to comprehend the examples and drawing at conclusions. So this method is sometimes becomes time consuming. Next, deductive methods. The deductive method is opposite of inductive method. In deductive method, we proceed from general to particular. Here we proceed from general theory to example. There is an example, if we know a general formula, say man is mortal, we already know that man is mortal. That has been recorded as a general formula in our mind. Then anyone, if ask me or ask anyone that whether every man who has come to this earth will have to go or die, we can easily say that yes, he will have to die one day because every man is mortal. As we know the general truth that man is mortal, we can say that every man will die at one point of time. And in mathematics, it's an example. If we know that a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus twice ab plus b square, next time we do not find any difficulty in concluding that 2 plus 5 whole square is equal to 2 square plus 2 square plus 2 into 5 plus 5 square according to this formula. So it becomes quite easy to draw anything with the help of this formula. But as we have said earlier, every method has got its merits and demerits. This deductive method has also got its limitations and advantages. So advantages are, it saves times for the teacher. We get a ready-made formula there, we just put the value and get the answer. So it saves time for the teacher. And it promotes speed in solving problem. We already have the formula, we then don't have to do many things. We just put the values in the formula and get the answers instantly. And here lies the disadvantages. It encourages memory only. Yes, that is a great disadvantage because sometimes students do not understand anything, but he memorizes the formula and he readily put some values in the formula and get the answers easily. So this is not good, and it encourages ultimately mechanical learning only. So as we have told earlier, every method has got its advantages and disadvantages. This deductive method is not also an exception. We have got advantages as well as disadvantages. So when we look at the advantages, it saves time for the teacher, and it's quite understandable. What we do in a deductive method, for instance, we will provide the formula a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus twice ab plus b square to the student, and what he will do, we will put the values in the formula and get the answers, and teachers will feel relaxed that students are doing good, they are performing good. So this is an advantage for the teacher. And is it an advantage for the students? We will discuss that later. And secondly, it promotes speed in solving problems. It's the same thing almost, 1 and 2, because when students get a ready-made formula, it's easy for him. It's easy for him to solve the problem. When he gets a formula, he puts the value and gets the answer. After doing in that numerous times, it becomes so easy for him, and that's why he develops speed. He develops speed. So it saves time for the teacher and it promotes speed in solving problem. But only advantages are not there. There are many disadvantages. It encourages memory. That is quite understandable, because without understanding that theory, without understanding how we have concluded the theory, a student can just go for memory. Without understanding, he may memorize everything, and what he memorized, there he will put the values and he will get the answer. So what that will do? That will ultimately promote mechanical learning. So we as teachers of mathematics, we understanding that in mathematics this mechanical knowledge is not good. So what lies there in inductive and deductive method? The point is that inductive method alone is not sufficient. Deductive method alone is not sufficient. If we look at inductive method and deductive method separately, the disadvantages will surface more. But if we apply inductive and deductive method in a wise way, that will yield maximum result. So we should go for inductive method first. We should encourage students to learn from particular to general theory. He must understand the fact that how we have concluded the theory, and after concluding the theory, then only he should be allowed to use this formula or general truth or this deductive method in solving problem. So we conclude with a golden line: mathematics should begin with induction and end in deduction. In fact, our life should begin with induction and end in deduction. That is ever repeated golden truth. Next, there is a great method, that is heuristic. Maybe not everybody is well versed with this term heuristic. Heuristic is a term which is of Latin or Greek origin. The heuristic term means that I find or I discover. Heuristic means I find or I discover. Here in heuristic method, the learner is placed in the place of a discoverer, and he is given opportunity to find something by his own. We must give him the opportunity to find something with his own. So here learner is given the opportunity of finding facts, characteristics by his own. If we look at this example, there are many ways through which a teacher can ask question on this rectangle. We can ask a student, is the angle, you have seen 4 angles, is the angles are right angles or not? Is the lines are opposite lines are parallel or not? What you have seen, is all the lines are equal or not? We can ask him many questions. He can say yes or not, or he can do for some mechanical answers, etc. But if we ask him that in this figure, we don't need to tell him that this is a rectangle. We can ask him, what you observe in this figure. We must create an environment for the little ones, so that they are encouraged to answer the questions without fear and with curiosity. Then maybe they will answer that this figure is such a figure where the opposite lines are equal. Maybe one student will reply like that. Maybe another student will say that not only equal, these opposite lines are parallel also. Yes, that is also true. Maybe another student will answer that all the angles here, interior angles, are same. Maybe he will not tell you this is interior angle. Somehow he will just try to make you understand that these are angles and these are equal. That is also true, and we must accept that, etc., etc. So if we give him the opportunity to explore anything by his own, This is so democratic process, and obviously he or she or they will be able to answer many questions, and it's up to the teacher how you provide the opportunity, how you create a situation where we have discussed the fact many times earlier that every method has its own advantages and disadvantages. So heuristic method is not also an exception. From advantage point of view, we have written it is suitable from point of view of child psychology. So what child psychology suggests us? According to child psychology, children are by nature curious. They want a situation where they are given an opportunity to find something new by their own, and we can exploit that nature of the child using this heuristic method, obviously, because we give them opportunity to discover things, discover characteristics, facts by their own. So that is one advantage. And another advantage that it encourages curiosity. It's almost the same thing we have discussed. It encourages curiosity when we give them a problem situation, an image or something like, and when we ask them to find whatever you have observed or you have found, tell me or write down. So when they are given such type of opportunities, it promotes among them the much needed curiosity, and this positive curiosity is always welcome for the children. And when we talk about disadvantages, there are many disadvantages also. It is not always possible to use this method in every topic. Now, when we talk about mathematics, it is consisted of many topics. So every topic demands different type of methods, different type of strategies, different type of approach by teachers. So this heuristic method is not such that it is suitable for every method, every topic. So for every topic, this heuristic method is not applicable. That is one disadvantage. And another disadvantage is that this method is considered by many as time consuming, and that is true because when we provide the children an opportunity to explore, to find facts by their own, we must give them time. If we go for individual care of students, we need to give them time, maximum time to individual students, and if we add all the times, it will ultimately consume several hours, maybe several days when transacting this heuristic method individually for individual students. So this method is a time consuming one, that is also a disadvantage. But all in all, we can say that heuristic method has got its merits, many merits, and we are in a position to use that method judiciously, particularly for those students who study in elementary level. Next we proceed to another method. This is another important method which is used in mathematics. It is called analytic and synthetic method. So what is analytic? This is like already discussed inductive and deductive method. They exist side by side but they are opposite of each other. Like that, this analytic and synthetic method is also such a method. It's a combination of two methods. They exist side by side, or they are like the two sides of the same coin. They are opposite, but they somehow support each other. So what is analytic method? This method proceeds from unknown to known. Now we need to understand the term analysis. What is analysis? Analysis means breaking up of the greater into some smaller parts. What we do here? Here we break up the unknown problem into smaller parts so that we can have a better understanding of the smaller parts to find the solution. Maybe we have got a big problem in our hand and we have found it difficult to understand. But if we break up that problem into smaller parts, maybe that will help us in understanding the smaller parts, and after understanding the smaller parts, we can combine the smaller parts or recombine the smaller parts into a composite meanings, and maybe that will help us in understanding the whole problem. So analysis is nothing but breaking up into parts. So what we do in analysis, we break the big problem into smaller parts and we try to understand the smaller part, and then again we recombine into a single entity. Here in mathematics, we can cite an example. This is a classical example of analytic method. The example states that if x by y is equal to p by q, prove that px minus twice y divided by y is equal to p square minus twice qy divided by q. Here we proceed from this unknown part and we apply some fundamental mathematics there, and we proceed like this. If we proceed from the unknown part, we can write or say px minus twice y square divided by y is equal to p square minus 2qy divided by q will be true if this equal to this. Means we have applied some fundamental mathematics here. We have divided these two parts by y, and here also in the right side we have divided the two parts by q, and we have simplified this, and this will be true if this will be true. Again this will be true if this will be true. After simplification, we get x by y is equal to p by q will be true. So we can conclude this will be true if this will be true, the last line, and the last line already given to be true. So proceeding from unknown, we have arrived in a known conclusion. So this is analytic method, and ultimately we can write this is given, which is given, hence proved. So this is the point in analytic method, we proceed from unknown to known. And this analysis is called fundamentally one of the greatest mental activity. If you can analyze well, you are a good thinker. That is said about analysis or analytic method. Next we discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of analytic method. Well, it's a logical method and leaves less doubts. When we analyze something, we use immense amount of logic. Without logic, we never proceed. So it's a logical method and it leaves less amount of doubts. And in second part, it is supported by reasoning. Yes, when we analyze and break the big problem into smaller parts, and try to understand, that understanding is always supported by reasoning. So without reasoning we can't proceed, or we can go further in advanced direction without giving any reasoning. So this from this point of view, it is supported by reasoning. So these are the advantages. There are many disadvantages, but we are talking about two. And the disadvantage is that it is not always possible to use this method in every topic. This analysis is fundamentally a higher mental activity, and for not every student it is suitable, or we can say in not every topic it has got applicability. And in second, it is a lengthy and time consuming method. When we analyze something, we break into parts and try to understanding the smaller parts to prepare or to constitute a greater meaning. So it takes plenty amount of time. So it's a lengthy and time consuming method. We'll discuss about synthetic method, and together we'll try to understand its significance. This is synthetic method. So synthetic method is nothing, it is opposite of analytic method. What we do in analytic method, we proceed from unknown to known. But here we proceed from known to unknown. Here fragmented or smaller facts are combined to have a desired solution. It is opposite of analytic method. So in synthetic method, maybe there is something here, something happening, here something happening, here something happening, 2 or 3 things happening simultaneously. We try to understand the smaller events and try to combine them into a single meaning. So that is synthesis or synthetic method. And the classical example we have cited earlier is that it is opposite of that previous example. If x by y is equal to p by q, prove that this. Here in this solution, this is the unknown part. If x by y is equal to p by q, and we will proceed from the unknown part. Here we have written the unknown part, x by y is equal to p by q, and we have applied some mathematics. We multiply p in the both side, then we again subtract twice y in both sides, and after simplification we get the desired result, and we have written it's proved. And it is quite understandable that we have proceed here from the unknown to from the known to unknown. It is the known part. X by y is equal to p by q. So it is the known part. We have proceed from known to unknown, and the unknown part is solved here. But as other method also, this method assumes many advantages as well as some disadvantages. The advantage is that it consumes less time. It consumes less time because we don't need to make here elaborate analysis. In synthesis, we combine fragmented parts into a single entity. Maybe that consumes less time, and it is easy to proceed from known to unknown. Yes, when we are given some known information, from the known information it is easy to proceed from the known to unknown information. And the disadvantage is that here mechanical learning may be encouraged, because in analysis, what is opposite of this synthesis, we go on providing reasoning in every step, but it is opposite that of analysis, and we don't use such type of reasoning in synthesis. So sometimes we go mechanical in this process, and that is one of the disadvantages. And there is very less scope of discovery. This is sometimes become mechanical. So in mechanical process there is less scope of discovery from the viewpoint of students learning. So these are the disadvantages. So talking about methods, another method which is used in mathematics in some suitable situation, this is project method. This project method was devised by William Kilpatrick, and his project method was based on the principle of learning by doing. And this principle of learning by doing is always supported by a psychological viewpoint from child psychology, because children learn to learn something by doing.
What is this natural setting? Natural setting is such a setting which is not artificial. We provide them a situation and they will learn something spontaneously by their own, and they will never feel that something is imposed on them, or some teachers have asked them to do, or is there any compulsion, etc. They will never feel that. But for the project method, some sequential steps are involved, and without breaking the sequence of the steps, we need to proceed in project method. What are these steps? Providing a proper situation, that is number one. So for a good project method, we must provide the learner a suitable situation so that a project may be chosen. We can't force them to choose a project which is not according to their age or according to their psychological urge. We must be careful in choosing a project so that the project fits according to their age, according to their need, according to their psychology, etc. So we have provided them the proper situation. Next, choosing and purposing. We must be able to define or state the purpose of the project. We cannot have a project or we cannot take a project which is purposeless. The project must have a curricular purpose or must be able to serve the purpose of the children so that they learn something. So this purposing in a project method is extremely important. Without purposing, we are not in a position to execute a proper project. After choosing and purposing, next step is that we need to plan the project. Why we plan? We plan for better execution. And the planning stage is extremely important. If we do not plan it properly, maybe the execution part will not yield desired result. So this planning is done with the guidance of research, keeping in view every aspects of science, psychology, their need, curricular aspects, etc. So this is the third step, planning of the project. When we plan properly, we need to execute the project, and execution part is also important. There is no step which is less important. This execution part is also important. In executing the project, students are given immense liberty to execute the project, to do something with their own, etc. But at the same time, teachers must be able to guide them properly so that no untoward incident happen or nothing such happens which may not serve the purpose. Next, after execution, we evaluate, and evaluation is extremely important because this evaluation will tell us what good we have done, what should be avoided, etc. So evaluation is extremely important, and when we do evaluation, that helps us in future projects also. And the last step, and not the least step, it is important, it's the recording. We must record the whole project from step 1 to the last step in a proper way. We must record everything in a proper way, and this recording will help us in learning many things from our mistakes when we choose the next project for the student. Now, as usual, this project method also assumes some advantages and disadvantages. Number one, in the advantages, it is suitable from the point of view of science psychology. It's obvious children loves to learn by their own. When they are given something to do, they are encouraged and they become so curious, they become enthusiastic to perform with their own, by their own. So it is suitable from the point of science psychology. Next, it encourages learning by doing. Learning by doing is a principle of learning. So it's learning, it encourages learning by doing what they hear, they forget easily, but if they do by their own, learning becomes complete. So these are advantages. But there are disadvantages also. Choosing a proper project for mathematics is not always easy. Project method is time consuming. Project, when we plan or choose a project, when we choose a project for mathematics, it's not always easy to choose a proper project. It's not always easy for every teacher to choose a proper project. You can ask me what is a good project for mathematics. I can cite some example. In our school, we organize Saraswati Pujas, so they are involved organization of this puja, marketing, expenditure, etc. So that may be used as a project. When you buy something, when you organize anything, you need to keep the accounts in a proper way, you need to submit the accounts in a proper way, so that may be a project. You can send your children. Of course, without the guidance of teachers, you can send your children to do markets. There they can compare the price of vegetables, and after comparing, they can demonstrate or they can view the comparison of price by using some diagrams, etc. That is also maybe a project for little children. You can engage them to observe what geometrical shapes you have seen in the school premises. They can write down that. They will see a board that is a rectangle. They will see a fan moving that creates a circle. They will see a bicycle. The wheel of the bicycle is a circle. So in their own environment, there are many geometrical shapes. So they can observe that, they can write that. And one point is worth mentioning: not every project is suitable for every student. The teachers must be smart enough to choose projects according to their age and psychology. So this is it. Next, we have got another method which we term as an activity-based method. So this activity-based method, it is self-explanatory, a method which is based on activity. So what is an activity? You must understand, activity is not play, may not be play. Sometimes play is confused with activity. Play may be spontaneous. When you allow little students to play, they may involve in play without any purpose, but activity is purposeful. Activity is purposeful. We never design an activity which is purposeless. The activity must be in conformity with the curricular content. It is based on the principle of learning by doing. Yes, it is said many times. Students love to do something by their own. They are eager to know by doing. If we go on lecturing, they will listen and they will forget easily. But if you give them an opportunity to learn by their own, they will learn more well, and learning will become complete, and learning will take place in a consolidated manner. So it is written, children by nature loves to perform activities rather than listening to lecture. Here teachers design activity for the students keeping conformity with curricular content. Otherwise, activity may not serve the purpose. This is extremely important. Here lies the difference between play and activity. Many teachers confuse between activity and play. Play is spontaneous, and play is used for nursery students or low-level students, but activity may be used for upper primary students as well. In activity, we the teachers we should keep in mind that our activity must serve a purpose and it must have conformity with curricular contents. So this is activity. If we look at the characteristics of good activity, maybe we will understand what is activity. Number one, must have conformity with curricular content. We always have curricular content. Our curriculum demands that in the month of say January, students need to understand this. In the month of February, students need to understand that, etc., etc. So, keeping in view that curriculum, we must design our activities so that curricular interest is served. Number two, there must be good scope of involvement of every student. This is also important. When we design an activity, we must be able to devise that activity in such a manner so that every students get an opportunity involve themselves with that activity. If we design an activity maybe which is suitable for some 2 or 3 students, that is not a good activity. We must be able to devise the activity so that maximum number of students gets involved in that activity. So that is important. We must be able to design activity in such a manner so that maximum number of students gets involved. Number 3, there should be scope for group involvement. Another great point. if we design activities so that individual student get involved, that will consume huge amount of time. So activities should be involved in such a manner so that there is scope of group involvement. And while the group is involved, we must observe, the teacher must observe that the group should not be dominated by 2 or 3 students. Maybe the group is consisted of 6 or 7 students, and every student of the group must have an opportunity to get involved in that activity. That is quite important. The point worth mentioning is that every method is good. Every method has its merits and demerits. It's up to the teacher how he uses the activity with the students. And the last one is activity must be suitable according to age. So age is a great factor. Maybe some elementary level student is 11 years of age, maybe some student is 15 years of age. So an activity which is designed for 15-year-old student, that activity may not be suitable for 11-year-old student. So we must be able to design activity so that it fits students' age. Otherwise, everything will become meaningless. I hope we understand the fact. Next, as usual, there are advantages and disadvantages of this method. In the advantage, we can see number 1, it is suitable from psychological viewpoint. It's the same thing when student given the opportunity of learning by doing, it fits their psychology. Their psychology suggests that students love to understand, they love to learn by doing. So in this activity-based method, we give them an opportunity to learn by doing. So this is supported by psychological viewpoint. Number 2, this method makes learning complete. When they learn by doing, their learning becomes complete and their learning consolidates in their mind. And this consolidation of learning makes ultimately the learning complete in their mind. Disadvantage is that every topic cannot be discussed using this method. So it's not very easy to design an activity by teacher for each and every topic. It's not easy. It must be said. And second is that designing of good activity is not easy for every teacher. You can design an activity, but there is a difference between an activity and a good activity. We have already discussed what is a good activity. So not for every teacher it is possible to design a good activity. So this is another disadvantage of activity-based method. But still, the advantage part is more heavy. And while teaching mathematics, we particularly in the elementary level, we should go for designing maximum number of activities. And if we are smart enough to design proper activity, it also reduces the stress of teacher. It also reduces the indiscipline in the classroom, because when they get involved in an activity, they are busy spontaneously without disturbing the classroom environment.
Now we'll topic about this laboratory method. Mathematics is a subject which is required to be learned by doing for proper understanding. Laboratory method is such a method which is based on some good principles such as learning by doing, learning by observation, proceed from concrete to abstract, etc. Actually, there are some topics in mathematics which do not require lecturing or which do not require such type of approach. In such type of topics, we need to do something by our own. I mean to say, the students need to do the problems by their own. So in order to do that, they need to experiment with that. For that, they need a laboratory, and in that laboratory, they may practice this laboratory method. Actually, this is a more elaborate way of actually inductive method, where we proceed from particular to general. Here we need a mathematics laboratory which leads students to discover mathematical facts. By psychological viewpoint, students are very eager to know by themselves, to discover things by their own. So laboratory method is a good solution to exploit that students' arts, I mean to say the psychological art. So laboratory method is such a method which is considered one of the best while teaching learning of mathematics is concerned. For example, calculation of volume of a hollow cylinder can be done with the help of this method. Think about the concept of volume of a cylinder. So in a laboratory we can have a say a hollow shaped container, and we can pour water or liquid into that container, and consequently proceeding in proper ways we can calculate what is volume physically. So without a laboratory that is not quite easy, and that is one example. Another may be, say, sum of angles of a triangle is equal to 2 right angles. So sum of the angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So 180 degree means equal to 2 right angles. So that can also be calculated in a proper way by experimenting by own selves in a laboratory. So there are numerous examples where we can use this laboratory method. As usual, there are merits and demerits of laboratory method. It is not that every topics can be taught with the help of this laboratory method. And now we'll discuss about its merits and demerits. First, we can see it is based on sound psychological principles such as learning by doing, learning by observation, etc. So what we do in a laboratory, mathematical laboratory, we learn by doing. What we hear, we forget easily, but what we learn, we understand well, and that understanding becomes a consolidation while we learn by doing. So learning by observation is another good thing. When we observe what is happening, point is that in a laboratory, say, one student may perform the experiment and others may observe. So observation is not bad, and there learning by observation is facilitated. Number 2, it is a joyful method for the learner. They enjoy experimenting in the laboratory. While they transact something by their own in a laboratory, it creates so much joy among them. And in that joyful environment, they enjoy experimenting in the laboratory. That is another good point. And number 3 is that inculcates a sense of cooperation in the minds of learner. So schooling is not only about learning something. If at the same time cooperative temperament can be developed in the minds of learner, that is also good. So it inculcates a sense of cooperation in the minds of learner, because in a laboratory, you see, it is not that only one student will solve everything by himself. Maybe he will initiate, but he needs support from his fellow students. So it inculcates a sense of cooperation in the minds of learner. And number 4 is it is specially suitable for teaching learning of geometry. So in mathematics there are many topics. Geometry is one of them, and that is one of the most important topic. And geometry is such a topic. We have already cited one example, that the sum of triangles in a sum of angles in a triangle is equal to 2 right angles, and such type of assumptions, such type of theories can be proved with the help of this laboratory method. And there are some demerits also, so far as laboratory method is concerned. We can see the demerits. Number 1, it facilitates facts for the students, but not always reasoning. So mathematics is not always about facts. It needs reasoning also, but sometimes laboratory method fails to inculcate the sense of reasoning in students' minds. So that is one of the demerits. And number two is that sometimes this method yields only manual work of training. That is one point. Sometimes without any reasoning, some students may go for just manual like work. Maybe he will understand nothing, but he will go on doing something mechanically, and that may be a kind of manual work or training. So that is another demerits. But all in all, we can say laboratory method has got more merits. Next, another method we have got is this problem solving method. So this is a self-explanatory terms, problem solving method. Already we know mathematics is all about problems. Mathematics is all about problems. So while we learn the theory in mathematics, next we go to the problem part. So it says many things. We have written a problem may arise in cognitive domain of the child, or it may be a problem involving physical manipulation of data. Problem is that some problems arise in the cognitive domain of the children, and some problems may involve physical manipulation of data. So, according to experts, a problem occurs in a situation in which a felt difficulty to act is realized. When there is a difficulty which is felt in the minds of the learner, then the learner is encouraged to go for the solution of the problem. Human beings face and solve problems as they grow. As we grow, we face numerous numbers of problems. We face the problems, we go for solution of that problem. So life is all about facing problem and solving it. There are steps involving in problem solving method. These steps are: number one, you can see identification of the problem. First, we need to identify what is the problem in front of us. We must be able to identify that problem. Second, interpretation of the problem. Problem is, we have identified the problem. Next step is that we must be able to interpret the problem in a proper curricular context. Without that, the meaning may be vanished. So that is one another important point. Interpretation of the problem is extremely important. Next, data gathering. We need to collect the data so as to solve the problem in a proper way. That is one point. Next, after collection of data, we need to organize the data. We need to organize the data in a proper way, in a proper sequence, so that we can further move towards the solution of the problem. Next, formulation of probable solution. The solution at this stage, it's not like that we can say we are going to have a proper solution, but at that time we need to formulate a tentative or a probable solution, formulation of the probable solution. So we need to formulate a probable or a tentative solution of the problem. After that, we need to arrive at correct solution. After formulation of tentative solution, we need to arrive at a proper or correct solution. So that is another important step, and maybe that will take quite a lot of time, because that is the execution part, and after knowing everything, sometimes we fail in executing. Number 7 is verification of results. After getting the results, we need to verify everything. So that is another important aspect. Now, we go to the merits and demerits parts of this problem solving method. As usual, every method has its own merits and demerits. Problem solving method is no exception. We can see the merits. This method stimulates thinking. Of course, it stimulates thinking because whenever we face a problem, we need to solve the problem. So in that process, we think a lot, we analyze a lot. So everything happens in our cognitive domain. So this method stimulates thinking. And mathematics is a subject which is all about proper thinking and execution. followed by proper execution. So it's a merit. This method stimulates thinking. Number 2 is it stimulates learning by self-effort. So point is that the teacher's duty is to guide or show how to solve, how to do this, how to think. After that, the student needs to learn by self-effort or execute by self-effort. So while the teachers guide the student properly, in the next step, maybe the student will learn to solve the problem by self-effort. So that is another good point. Number 3 is, as mathematics is a subject of problem, this method is specially suitable for mathematics. In the first part, I have, while dealing with this problem solving method, I have already mentioned that life or mathematics is all about problem. So it is obvious that this method is quite suitable for mathematics teaching learning, because while we learn mathematics as a theory. The teachers guide us, help us to learn the theory. Maybe he will guide us to solve 2 or 3 problems. After that, we need to solve problems by our own. It's not only in mathematics, it happens or it is applicable in our life also. We need to solve our problems by ourselves, and mathematics is all about problem solving, so it is suitable for mathematics. Demerits, you have got demerits also, but not more. Number 1 demerit is this method is not suitable for students of lower classes. Lower classes means lower standards. Say so far as elementary education is concerned, there are upper primary stages, there are lower primary stages. So not in all stages, particularly in the lower stages, this method is suitable, because solving a problem needs so much proper thinking, so much conception is needed, so much perception is needed. After that, the students need to apply his knowledge in a proper way. So all these things is not so easy for the students of lower grades. So this method is not suitable for students of lower classes. This is a time consuming method. Yes, time matters, because in our classes the teachers get a stipulated amount of time, and in that stipulated amount of time he needs to do many things. He need to takes care of many students. So while we provide opportunity to the students to perform this problem solving method, it's not easy to maintain time. It's not easy. So it's a time consuming method. That is one disadvantage or demerits. Number 3 is that it is very difficult to use this method in every topic of mathematics. This problem solving method is not such that we will be able to use this topic in every topics of mathematics, because there are many topics in mathematics, and distinct topics demand distinct type of approach. So in not all the topics this method is suitable. So this is one demerit. Next we come to this playway method. Playway, we can understand what is play. Every child loves to play. Play is a spontaneous urge for the little ones. So what is play? We can understand play is something which is not deliberate. The students do not know how they play. Just they spontaneously play. They begin to play in a spontaneous manner. It's a natural urge. It's a psychological urge in the minds of the little learners that they love to play. So this psychological urge that the students love to play can be exploited by the teachers. By doing what? By employing the playway method among the students. This play is the main, this word play, it is the main theme of the approach. This method is suitable particularly for kindergarten students. Here pupils learn without feeling any kind of burden. Counting, pre-number concept, some geometrical shapes, etc. can be taught using this method very effectively and efficiently. Play is not that it is suitable for every standard. Play is particularly suitable for kindergarten students or Montessori students, because while they play, they learn without feeling the burden of learning. They never feel that someone is instructing them, someone is guiding them to learn, or someone is compelling them to learn. They never feel so. So this is quite a good method for those little students who are particularly in the KG level or Montessori level. And for instance, say pre-number concepts. Pre-number concept is an important mathematical concept before starting mathematics. So this pre-number concept can be developed in the minds of learner with the help of this playway method. We already know pre-number, what is pre-number concept, that concept of big, small, that concept of say short, tall, little, more, these concepts are pre-number concepts. So developing of these pre-number concepts, these are extremely important before going to learn mathematics or numeracy. So this pre-number concept can be developed using this method, playway method. Another, say, geometrical shapes, counting, how to count 1, 2, 3. This can be learned using rhymes and other approach which falls under the realm of this playway method. So play is an essential part of early childhood care. In today's context, this word is extremely important. Early childhood care is important, so important, and this play is an essential part of early childhood care. So in such type of educational scenario, this playway method can play a greater role. Teachers only need to regulate little ones so that everything remains under control and curricular purpose is served. There is a role of teacher. Teacher burden is very less here, but he needs to regulate the play among the little ones, because at the same time we must observe one thing, that curricular purpose is served. It's not that they are playing and curricular purpose is not served. That will not serve the purpose. So serving of curricular purpose while playing is extremely important. As usual, there are merits and demerits of this playway method. So while we discuss about merits, it is very much suitable for kindergarten students from psychological viewpoint. So what child psychology tells us? Child psychology tells us that there is a natural urge among the little students. That urge is that they love to play. They love to play. So we don't need to force them to play. If we create a conducive environment for play, they will automatically play. So all we need to do is that we need to regulate them properly. So we need to frame the play in such a manner so that the curricular purpose is also served along with their mental satisfaction of play. Next, while playing, teachers remain active. The learners remain active and cooperative. So, school is not only about learning the curricular areas only. At the same time, they need to become cooperative. They need to become active. So, these are also pertains to scholastic development. So, while they play, they automatically develop between them sense of cooperation. They remain so active. So this play serves that purpose, that while playing with their fellow counterparts, they develop a sense of cooperation and they remain active. And here teachers' burden is less here. Teachers' burden is less here. Teachers do not need to do many things for them. They don't need to write in the blackboard, then they don't need to go for lengthy lectures or something like that. All they need to do is that they need to regulate everything, and then they need to regulate in a proper way so that no one gets injured and there is no quarrel among the students, etc. So it's quite easy. Teachers can do that. And there are demerits also. It is not suitable for every standard in the school. While school is concerned, there are many standards, right from kindergarten, lower primary, upper primary, etc. So this play is not just that it is suitable for every standards of student. Particularly for upper primary level, this introduction of playway method is not suitable. Next, keeping conformity of play with curricular area is not always easy. So while we provide them an environment of play, at the same time we need to keep conformity of curricular area with play. So keeping this conformity of curricular area with play, it is not always easy for all teachers. You can provide environment for play, but if they play without serving any curricular purpose, that will not yield a desired result. So this is a point which remains as a demerit. Next, organization of play among little students is not always easy for every teacher. That needs special training and motivation also. It's a point. The teachers need to organize play among students, but that needs special training, because it's not that those teachers who deal with students in upper primary level will be able to deal with these kindergarten students also. It's not that. Organization of play among Montessori or kindergarten students is not easy. For that the teachers need special training, special motivation also, and it's a matter of sometimes high degree of tolerance also, because the tiny tots, they do not understand anything. They may create any environment, and the teachers, those specially trained teachers, must be able to digest such type of situation. So dealing with this playway method by every teacher is not easy. For that they need special training. Next we come to dogmatic method. So this is a lesser known method. Maybe many people have not heard about this dogmatic method, because it is nowadays it is very less talked method. So what is this term dogmatic all about? The dogmatic term comes from the word dogma, D-O-G-M-A. This is D-O-G-M-A. What is a dogma? So dogma is something which is laid down by authority as incontrovertibly true. And those who follow this dogmatic method are called dogmatists. Dogmatists are such type of people who lay down laws, rules, and it is expected to be followed without question and with exactness and rigor. So that is a dogma. In religious aspect, we use this term dogma, but there is a method in mathematics also which is called dogmatic method. Here teachers just laid down the rules. So this is so and so, without question you follow that. So this is dogmatic method. Here in this method, the rules and formulae are given to the students to observe strictly without question. This way of the way or the pattern as given by the teachers is expected to be observed by the students strictly without deviance. So while teachers employ dogmatic method among the students, teachers lay down rules, regulations, or anything like that, and they expect that students will follow that rules, their instruction, their laws, anything strictly with exactness and with rigor, and they do not have the right to question why this is so, how this is so, etc., etc. So it is obviously understandable that this method is not a democratic one, and this method may create an environment of fear among the students. So this method has got many demerits. Still, it's a method. In some stages it becomes important. So it's not that we can say that dogmatic method do not have any significance in today's context. This method has also got some amount of significance in today's method. Now we will discuss the merits and demerits of dogmatic method. First, merits. At the revision stage, this method is good as rigor is most desirable at this stage. While we learn something, we get the theoretical conception, perception, anything like that. After that, we are given problems. Maybe teachers solve 2 or 3 problems. After that, it's our turn to solve the problems by ourselves. And after learning everything, we need revision because we need to develop our speed so that in a stipulated amount of time we can solve the problems. So at this revision stage, if we follow dogmatic method, if we follow the instruction of teachers without question, with exactness, with rigor, that may yield some amount of good. So it's a merit that at this revision stage, this method is good for rigor, is most desirable at this stage. Next, it promotes speed in the solution of problem. These 2 points support each other. When at the revision stage we follow the rules and regulations strictly, what ultimately it will do? It will promote speed among the learners while we go for solution of problem. If we go on solving a problem with the rules given by the teacher without question repeatedly, then what will do? It will obviously develop our speed for solution. So it promotes speed in the solution of problems. That is another merit. So if we go to the demerit part, we can see mechanical memory is encouraged in this method, which is not considered good. Because when our teachers tell us to follow something with exactness and with austerity, then with fear or something like that, maybe we are following mechanically or using our memory to learn something, to memorize something. Maybe we will do everything right by memorizing everything, but that will not serve the purpose for long, and that is never considered good in mathematics. Mathematics is a subject where the students should be allowed the right to question, and that is so democratic attitude, and in today's context that is so much desirable, and dogmatic method never supports that. Number 2, there is very less scope of development of independent thinking. So mathematics at a later stage is all about development of independent thinking. But if a teacher gives instruction with rigor, with austerity, how the students will get an environment where they can develop independent thinking, they can ask why or how, etc., etc. So this is a method which is against development of independent thinking. But still, this dogmatic method has got many significance so far as mathematics teaching learning is concerned.
Now we almost come to conclusion. We have got many methods, but we have discussed today nearly 4 methods. In conclusion, we can say one thing: there is no golden method of teaching mathematics. Yes, that is true. Many people can ask you, what is the best method of teaching mathematics? Then you can say one thing, that there is no golden method or there is no fixed method which suits every mathematics for every student. Every method has its merit and demerits. It is the duty of the teacher to choose an appropriate method according to situation. A teacher's method may be a combination of many methods. Maybe that is why it is said that teacher's method is the best method. And the last line, it is a golden line in my language, because when teachers employ method, his method may be a combination of many methods. And when he combines many methods into a single method, maybe he deletes the disadvantages of the method and he keeps with him the advantages of the method, and ultimately combining all these advantages of various methods, he introduces a method which we may call the research method. So it is a research method is the best method. And this is all. Thank you very much.